Hi, this is Beth Sullivan from Deep Roots Learning Solutions, and I wanted to show you how I use the ideas of spaced repetition for the study of irregular or sight words in my Orton-Gillingham lessons. So the first thing I did was I set up a Google Slides presentation, and I put in these header slides for the groups of words we're going to have. So the first group of words is for daily practice. The next group is twice a week practice, weekly, and monthly review. After that, the words get retired, and we don't typically look at them again unless the student has difficulty with them. And I also made a not yet introduced group in case I want to get ahead and pre-type some of the words that we're going to be using. So for choosing words to teach, I use the Fry word list. I start with the first word and the first 100 words, and I do not teach as irregular words anything that the student has already learned to decode. So if they know the sounds of these three letters in the word and, then I don't teach them. Often they've already learned the word a or before they get to me, so I don't teach it. But let's imagine we're starting at the very beginning, and the first words I'm going to introduce are the, of, and to. I like to use this slide, the big number slide, for typing sight words because it just gives you a really big font to work with. So I have another one here, of, and one more, two. So in presenting these words to the student, I might use the annotate tools in Zoom. We'll take a look at these words and I'll say, this word is the. What are the sounds you hear in the word the? Two words, there are three letters. So what letters represent the th sound in the? And they may or may not know the digraph th. They may or may not know that E can say can make the schwa sound at the end of a word. So we talk about that. And usually I say like, oh, this is kind of a funny one because E doesn't usually represent the sound, but it does here. So that's the tricky part of the word. That's the part that we have to remember. So we'll underline that in red, or we'll trace it in red as a reminder that that's the part of the word that makes us stop and think. So we go through each of those words later in the lesson. I dictate the same words for spelling. And if they can successfully read and spell those words by the end of the lesson, let's imagine I'm seeing a student 3 times a week. We might practice them again the next day. And if they can do them 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, I move them down to twice a week practice for the following week. So the following week, I'll have 1 to 3 new words under the daily practice tab. And when I present them at the beginning of the lesson, it goes like this. I showed you how I introduce my new words in the daily practice section, and then I get to this section, and it is for twice a week practice. And I say, we learned these words last week. What's this word? The word, and they'll say the, and I'll say, what did we say is the tricky part about spelling the word the? And they may or may not remember that E represents the sound. And if we need to, we review it. And if they cannot read the word at all, I move it back up to daily practice for the rest of the week. And then we try again. When they can retain the words after practicing just twice a week, I move them to weekly practice. And when they can retain them only seeing them once a week, I move them to the monthly review pile. And then once a month, the first or last lesson of the month, we go through the whole pile, we read them all, we spell them all. And it's very common that there are some words we have to move back up to review them because the student could do them when they saw them at every lesson or every other, and then they've kind of forgotten them over the course of a month. But when we go back and review them, they tend to pick them up more quickly, and we move them again through the deck. When I choose words to teach, I said I don't teach words that are phonetically regular for the student. So if they know that S can make the Z sound sometimes, I don't teach is as a sight word. And you can see that these that I've marked with X's in blue are words that I commonly don't teach as irregular words because usually by the time we get to them or the student reaches me, they already know some of these. So that's how I use the idea of spaced repetition to set up my sight word or irregular word or red words study in my Orton-Gillingham lessons. If I'm doing these lessons in person, I write the words on index cards and I use a set of 4 envelopes, or I use a card file box with dividers, or I use pockets that I create in a folder. But the system is the same, the 4 groups of words for daily practice, twice a week, weekly, and monthly. And then when I retire them, physical cards, I just take them right out of the system. So I hope that was helpful. I just wanted to show that there are lots of ways to kind of keep your information organized and use some of the same ideas you've been using as an in-person teacher or tutor to teach Orton-Gillingham online. Thanks for watching.